A 6-year-old girl walked into a police station alone, crying, and what she said next stopped every single officer in that building cold. This is not a story you hear every day. This is the kind of story that makes you put your phone down, sit up straight, and just listen. Because what this little girl did, on her own, with no adult helping her, no phone, no plan, took more courage than most grown adults will ever show in their entire lives. And by the end of this video, I promise you, you are going to feel something. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. Nothing special about the day. The kind of day where people are just going about their business. Getting coffee, checking emails, driving to work. Officer Daniel Hayes was standing near the entrance of the precinct, just finishing up a call when he noticed something that didn't belong. A little girl, standing alone on the sidewalk just outside. She looked about 6 years old. Her dress was dirty. Her shoes were untied. And she wasn't screaming or throwing a tantrum the way kids sometimes do. She was just standing there, crying quietly. The kind of crying that doesn't make noise. The kind that comes from somewhere really deep inside. Somewhere a child should never have to reach. Daniel walked over to her. He crouched down so he wasn't towering over her and said, "Hey, are you okay? Where's your mom?" And this little girl, this tiny 6-year-old, looked up at him with the biggest, reddest eyes he had ever seen in his life. And she said 4 words. "Please follow me home. Please follow me home." That was it. No explanation. No backstory. Just 4 words and a look on her face that told him everything he needed to know. Daniel reached out his hand. She grabbed 2 of his fingers without even thinking about it, like she had been waiting for someone to reach out this whole time. He asked her name. She said Sophia. He asked how old she was. She said 6.5, like the half really mattered. And honestly, in that moment it did. He asked where her parents were. She didn't answer. She just kept walking, holding his fingers, her little head slightly down like she was carrying something way too heavy for someone her size. 4 blocks. That's how far they walked. 4 blocks through the city. This tiny girl leading a fully grown police officer through the streets, completely sure of where she was going. She stopped in front of a small house. Broken front gate, porch light burned out, paint peeling off the door. She looked up at him and said, "This is home." Daniel knocked. Nothing. He knocked again. Still nothing. He tried the handle. The door opened. Inside, the house was dark. No TV, no sounds, no smell of food, just complete heavy silence. And something else, a faint smell that made his stomach drop. Sophia spoke softly from beside him. "Mama's in the bedroom. She didn't wake up this morning." Daniel moved fast. He went through the house, room by room, until he reached the bedroom. And there was Sophia's mother, a young woman, 28 years old, named Clara, lying on the bed, pale, barely breathing, completely unresponsive. He called for an ambulance immediately. While they waited, Sophia climbed up onto the edge of the bed beside her mother. She took her hand, and she started talking to her quietly, like she had probably done all morning, just hoping her mom would wake up. "The policeman is here, Mama," she whispered. "He came. I told you someone would come." The paramedics got there in 6 minutes, and what they found explained everything. Clara had type 1 diabetes. It's a condition where the body cannot produce insulin on its own. Insulin is the thing your body needs to control your blood sugar. Without it, your blood sugar crashes, and if it gets bad enough, you lose consciousness. It can kill you. Clara had run out of insulin 3 days earlier. She couldn't afford the refill. So she had done what too many people in this world do when the system fails them. She waited. She hoped it would pass. She told herself she would figure it out tomorrow. Tomorrow almost never came. The doctors said that if Sophia had waited even 2 more hours, if she had just sat in that house, scared and alone, not knowing what to do, her mother would not have survived. But Sophia didn't wait. This 6-year-old girl woke up that morning, found her mother not moving, and made a decision. She didn't have a phone. She didn't know any neighbors well enough, but she knew one thing. She had always been told that police officers were there to help. So she walked 4 blocks alone through the city. She found a police officer, and she asked him to follow her home. Think about that for a second. Most adults, fully grown, life-experienced adults, freeze in a crisis. We panic, we overthink. We ask ourselves if we're overreacting. We worry about bothering people. This little girl did none of that. She just moved. She just acted. Because her mother needed her. Daniel stayed at the hospital all evening. He sat with Sophia in the waiting room, got her a sandwich from a vending machine, and let her fall asleep leaning against his arm. At some point he called his wife. She picked up immediately. "You okay?" she asked. She always knew. "Yeah," he said. I love you." Hug the kids. He stayed until Clara opened her eyes. The first word out of her mouth, before anything else, before the doctors or the fear or the questions, was just one word. "Sophia." And Sophia looked up from the chair beside the bed and said, "I brought someone, Mama, like you always said. I found someone to help." The story didn't stop there. When Daniel got back to the precinct the next morning and told his colleagues what had happened, it spread fast. Officers started pooling their own money together to help cover Clara's medical costs. A local pharmacy heard the story and offered to cover her insulin for an entire year for free. A nonprofit reached out to connect Clara with housing assistance and single-parent support resources. One little girl's 4 words started a chain reaction that changed an entire family's life. The day Clara was discharged from the hospital, Daniel brought his wife and kids. Clara came out with Sophia beside her, wearing a clean yellow dress, hair combed, shoes tied for the first time. Sophia ran straight to Daniel and hugged him around the waist without saying a word. He crouched down so they were face to face. "You were really brave," he told her. She thought about it for a second. Then she shook her head. "I wasn't brave," she said. "I was just scared. But I went anyway." Daniel didn't say anything for a long moment. He just looked at her, and then he smiled. Not a polite smile, but a real one. The kind that comes from somewhere deep inside. "Yeah," he said quietly. "That's exactly what brave is. There's something about this story that stays with you. Because Sophia didn't have superpowers. She didn't have training or resources or a plan. She had fear. Real, heavy, crushing fear. And she walked through it anyway. She did the only thing she could think of. And that one decision saved her mother's life. We live in a world where asking for help is somehow seen as a weakness. Where people suffer quietly because they don't want to be a burden. Where pride and fear keep us stuck when all we have to do is take 4 steps, or 4 blocks, towards someone who can help. This 6-year-old girl understood something that most of us forget. Help doesn't always come to you. Sometimes you have to go find it.